Hello and welcome to episode 40 of the What Shara Made podcast, and it's also my podiversary. I've been doing this for a whole year now and I couldn't be happier. I love it. I love doing it. I love all the people I've met. It's just been such a lovely opportunity, and I never would have met so many people who were so special to me now if I hadn't have started this podcast. So I think that's been the great thing, and it's having a podcast also encourages me to finish things a lot more than when I didn't have a podcast. Now I must point out that something's gone a bit unusual with my camera, and it's no longer filming in the format that I normally film in, and I can't quite see everything that's being filmed, so I may or may not be in shot, I don't know. And there might be other things in shot that I can't see. So apologies for that if it's really distracting. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Now I might as well start with the obvious. I'm wearing an FO. Now not all the ends have been woven in and it hasn't been blocked, so it's still a bit, it's not quite finished, but it's definitely cast off. What I'm hoping will happen with blocking is that these sleeve edges might flatten out a little. I don't really like that puffy edge on the end there. And the other thing I'm hoping that might flatten out is that this shoulder with its little bloop might go smooth like this shoulder. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen, but you can see here that it is indeed finished. All the duplicate stitches done on the front. It is even, according to the stitches, even though it looks like it's sort of going that way a little bit. That's just my body. So we've got the prancing deers and the snowflake in the middle, and it's indeed finished. There's actually a little love heart on the back, but you can't really see it, but you get the idea. So I'm actually hoping this to wear this into town on Saturday. Got my final knitting group meetup for the year on Saturday, and I hope I can wear this. I hope the weather is conducive to wearing a knitted top. I'm actually a little bit warm wearing this today. Pardon me, today, even though it is stormy outside. You may have even heard some thunder just now. There's thunder rolling over and it's getting quite windy again. It was really windy this morning. The dog was looking at me like, what was that? She doesn't get scared in storms or anything though, thank goodness. But it's very dark outside and it's very windy. It has just stopped raining. It was absolutely pouring before, and I had to postpone the filming of the video because you would not have been able to hear me speaking. So we've got a tin roof and it's very loud. So this is an FO, my Christmas jumper. Oh, there's my thunder. I don't know if that... It's very loud. That's very loud. I don't know if that will actually come through on the audio, but if it does. There is also the possibility that the top of my head is chopped off in this video, and that's going to be really annoying. So I'm really sorry if that is the case. Now stop apologising. I've got a couple of whips. Now this whip in my awesome Girl So Sheepy cactus bag, which, oh my god, I love this so much. I had a young lady on the train yesterday ask me where I got this bag. I should tell her it was handmade by lovely Tammy in Sydney. So this whip is, it's almost a half finished object, but it is my wildflower socks by the Sweater Collective, and I love it. It is so gorgeous. Of course, the yarn, Dingo Dye Works, is amazing. So nice to work with. It is so soft and luxurious. I just love it. But the pattern is gorgeous and it's really interesting. And now it's pouring again. You might be able to hear that. It's toe up, as you can see, and it's got a heel flap and gusset. Now, the only other toe up socks I've ever completed have had short row heels, for example, German short row or Fish Lips Kiss heel. But this has got the heel flap and gusset, and I'd never done one of those in a toe-up construction before, and I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to knitting the other socks in this kit because I really enjoyed that process. Maybe I'm going to turn into a toe-up girl. Who knows? But you can see the lovely texture on the foot and the ankle. And then you get this gorgeous wildflowers pattern at the top. Isn't that amazing? I just love it. It's so cool. And it did take me a little bit of time to get my brain wrapped around how to do it, because it's not exactly straightforward. It's not complicated once you figure it out, but it took a little bit of brain power. So I'm really happy with that. Now, in the pattern, it does tell you to do 5 of these flowers, like 5 rows of those flowers, but I think that's going to make the sock a bit too long for me. I don't tend to wear particularly long socks ever. I have 1 or 2 pairs that I wear when it's absolutely freezing, but besides that, I find long socks a bit annoying for me. So I might cut it short after the next repeat, I think, and then just do the cuff and I'll be ready to go. Otherwise it'll just be too long for my little legs. So that's this. We're so in love with it. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm having so much fun working on that. I'm really, really enjoying it. Now the next whip I've got is also living in the same bag actually. I was out and about yesterday and I needed to have 2 projects on the go, of course. Now this one is another textured sock, but it's cuffed down. And I notice there's a little bit of something strange happening with the top of that cuff. I don't love it, but I'm not undoing it to fix that. I started off just doing a regular 1x1 rib and then changed my mind about 1.5 centimetres in to do a twisted rib cuff. And I shouldn't have done that. I should have just started again, but too late. It's done now. And I don't know if you recognise that textured pattern or not, but it is the same textured pattern that I've used on my Appiday mitts, and this is going to be that Appiday socks. It's not really showing up in this yarn so much because it is dark, but this is the yarn I chose to use. And the yarn is Knit Picks Hawthorn. And I have to say, I'm not really enjoying working with it, and that's unusual for me. It's unusual that I don't enjoy working with a yarn, but this one I have not enjoyed it, and it sort of, to me, feels like knitting with a 100% acrylic yarn, and I find that very hard on my hands, and I don't like the feeling on my skin. It feels makes my skin crawl. And that's what knitting with this yarn feels like. And it's a 75-25, so it shouldn't feel like that, but it does. And I was only knitting on it. Pardon me, it's a 80-20, so it's got even less acrylic in it than usual. But I don't know. I was knitting it while I was out and about yesterday, and it was quite a warm day, and I don't know if maybe my hands were a bit sweaty and clammy and so the yarn didn't feel very nice to knit, but I don't know, obviously I'm going to keep going with them, but not my favourite yarn. I quite like the way it looks and the way it's knitting out. I just don't like the feel of it. But on feet it'll feel just fine. It'd be lovely. These socks are actually going to be, fingers crossed, I get them finished in time, a Christmas present for my mum, and it's going to be part of her Christmas present because what we do in our family with the grown-ups is we have a Kris Kringle where we draw a name out of a hat earlier in the year, and that is the adult we're buying a present for, and we have a price limit, and so you don't have to buy presents for every single person, and it just makes it a little bit easier and a bit more attainable and less stressful, to be honest. And we're all grown-ups, and you know, if we want something we'll buy it. We don't have to wait for a special occasion for someone to give something to us. And of course we buy all the kids presents, but with the adults that's what we do. And every year that I have had my mum, she has asked for a donation to be made in her name to Oxfam or Red Cross, but I always like to give her something physical as well because that's quite nice. So this year she's getting a pair of socks, and initially I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to search around online and try and find a nice yarn to knit Mum's Christmas socks in, and then I reminded myself that I have quite an extensive stash of gorgeous yarns, and I've been hanging out to knit this yarn. I've probably had it 18 months and I've been hanging out to knit it, and because I love the colours and I hadn't used this yarn before, so I thought, oh, I'll use that. I shopped from my stash, and I know Mum's going to really love this colour as well. It's not quite showing up on screen. It sort of just looks grey black with a smear of blue in the middle, but it's actually a very dark green, and that's actually a bit of an electric blue and purple. I don't know how well this is going to show up. That's a bit better. That's more accurate there. Yeah, that's quite accurate. Aren't the colours just beautiful? I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And I'm hoping today, while the weather's a bit cooler, that maybe the knitting with it won't feel quite so gross. I'll see. We'll see. So that's that week. And fingers crossed that will be an FO very soon, preferably before Christmas. And my next whip is more socks. Yes, I had a bit of a sock party. Instead of Socktober, I'm having a Socksember. So let me try and get this out of the bag without pulling any stitches off. And you might remember these socks from the last episode. I'm knitting with some of my hand-spun sock yarn. Madly in love with it. There's something unusual happening with these socks. Now let me just move them past the annoying bump in the needles, the ergonomic needles that are driving me a bit bonkers, that I spoke about in the last episode. And these are the socks. They're coming along beautifully. I really love them. However, this sock, just been knit from this ball, is considerably larger than this sock. You can see the difference just looking at them there. It's actually about a 3 centimetre difference in the circumference of the sock. So this one doesn't have a whole lot of stretch because it is quite dense, because the yarn is obviously considerably thicker. And this one's got a lot of stretch because the fabric isn't quite so dense because the yarn is a lot thinner. So my hope is that when I'm wearing them, this one will stretch out and this one won't stretch quite as much, and they'll somehow end up being the same size on my feet. I don't know if that's completely ridiculous, and I might find that when I finish the socks and try them on that is ridiculous. The row gauge isn't too dramatically different, which is good because I plan on doing Fish Lips Kiss heel, and I mean it wouldn't matter what type of heel I chose to use unless I chose to do an afterthought heel. That's a thought. I'm just concerned that when it comes time to start the heel, if I'm doing an heel at the time, not an afterthought heel, that the heel on this one will need to be started earlier than the heel on this one. Because I'm needing them two at a time, that could pose an issue, but I don't know. I guess I'll find out when I come to that point. I'm not that far along. I do find these a bit of a... I'm still not very fast doing two at a time. If I was knitting these one at a time, they'd be zooming along. They'd probably be finished. But because I'm knitting them two at a time, I am a bit slow because I'm not really used to that technique yet. But I love the idea of having two socks finished at the end of finishing socks. So I'll keep going with them. I've just been using this as my project that sits on the couch, and every time I sit down for a few minutes I knit a couple of rows and then go off and do whatever else I was meant to be doing. So, and because the yarn on this one is quite a bit thicker, the colour changes are happening quicker than on this one. So they started at the same point, and I'm only just getting into the reddy colour here. This one's actually already starting to change into the next colour. You can see I've got the aqua colour, then the red, and it's starting to change to a brown here. And this one I'm only just into the red. So, I don't know. They're not going to match in multiple ways. But never mind, I still love them. And I'll probably still wear them as long as they're not dramatically uncomfortable. Now this was the most festive cup I could find in my extensive teacup collection, and I am mad for it. I actually many years ago made a Christmas decoration that matched this little guy, and I don't see it on the tree this year, and I think maybe it might have gone missing. I don't know. I know that my nieces were quite fond of it. Maybe they've borrowed it to put it on their tree. Excuse me. And I'm drinking a somewhat festively flavoured tea. It is a... Excuse me. It is a tea from Numi that is orange spice, and it's white tea with orange peel and spices, and it tastes quite nice. It's quite nice. And my next whip is a rather long-standing whip, and I think I started this towards the end of 2014, I think, and it's rather large. If I can unfold it. You won't be able to see the whole thing, or thunder, in screen because it is too big, but you'll get the idea. At this stage, it is a big triangle, but it's eventually going to be a blanket, and you might remember from earlier in the year the corner to corner crochet blanket that I finished with all my DK weight pure wool variegated yarns, and I got rid of every single skerrick of that yarn because I don't like variegated yarn very much, but I appeared to have a very large collection of DK weight pure wool variegated yarn that I was never going to use for anything. So instead of it going to waste, I thought I would just jam it all into one blanket, and I used up everything but about 2 grams of it, and that was fantastic. I was very pleased with myself. And this is the same situation, same pattern I'm using. So it starts in the corner and it increases each row, like, I can't really see what I'm doing there, but like that. And then when you get it wide enough, you can start decreasing every row, and it eventually makes a square, or a rectangle. If you want to make it a rectangle, that works as well. And I am trying to use up all of my DK weight, mainly neutral coloured cotton yarns, and I want to make myself a summer blanket, because often through summer here, because we're in a valley, when the weather is hot, it doesn't cool down overnight, like it does if you're near the coast, for example. And we have some very, very hot nights, and it's too hot to have a quilt or a doona or a duvet on, but I don't usually feel that comfortable with nothing covering my body, like a sheet or a blanket or something. So I thought if I had a cotton blanket, that might be the answer, and it's also a great way to use up my very extensive collection of bits and bobs of neutral coloured cotton. I don't know why I have so much of this, but I've got, this is full, it's very heavy, and I've still got more in another basket of this sort of stuff. So I've got colours like that. I know that that's not really a neutral, but it sort of blends in with the whole thing. And I'm trying to sort of keep it in a bit of an order, so that there's some cohesion of where the colours are placed, but I don't know, nothing too dramatic. And I think it's going to be quite nice. This is going to be slightly less ugly than the previous one that I did with all the different coloured variegated yarns, because none of those matched or looked nice together. But I do find myself using that blanket a lot, and I recently just gave it a wash and hung it on the line, and it's really bloomed and sort of grew a bit, and now it's even more wonderful to use. It's very soft and very warm and snuggly, and there's sometimes a few fights over who's going to use it, because it's become very popular despite being very ugly. Maybe that's part of its appeal. So I'm hopefully going to do a bit more work on this and get a bit more of it done. I'll just do a couple of rows a day. I'm not going to stress myself out about it, and before I know it, it will be time to start doing the decreases, and I'm going to be very happy with that. And once you start doing the decreases, you get onto the second half of the blanket. It seems to really go much, much faster than the first half of the blanket. I don't know why. Anyway, because it is essentially the same amount of work, but you're just doing it in reverse. So maybe it's a bit of a psychological thing, because you feel like the end is near, so you're slightly more encouraged to work on it. But I'm hoping to have that finished this summer instead of leaving it all year long. My intention was to start working on it again in about September, so it would be ready before the start of summer. Obviously that didn't happen, so I'm going to do some work on that this afternoon. And I think that's all I've got for active whips, but I've got an FO besides this one, and that is this little guy. Isn't it cute? I love it. So this is going to be a Christmas present for a little friend of mine, and this is a cotton that I've used. I just had some cotton hanging around in my stash, and I like the way these colours look together, and she's a pretty groovy little person, so I thought she would like these groovy colours together. I'll give you a bit of a close-up so you can see what's going on there. Obviously same back and front, so it doesn't matter which way you put your top on. And this pattern is called the Little Granny Vest, and it's written by me. And it's a pattern that I brought out many, many years ago, and it's been one of my most popular patterns ever, and I love making it. And I'd forgotten how much I love making it, and I started this and finished it on the same day. Very quick to crochet, I'm sure you can imagine that. And as soon as I finished it and then wove in all the ends, I started another one straight away. And they're a really good way to use up scraps when you've got little bits hanging around that aren't any good for a whole project. You can squeeze them into something little like this. So it's less than 100, maybe about 80 meters I think for the yellow I used, and then probably about 40 meters of each color, possibly maybe even only 30. And this is big enough to fit a 12 to 18 month old, possibly bigger because it's actually quite stretchy. And you can wear it over a long sleeve t-shirt in cooler weather, or you could wear it just as it is. There's a little summery top for playing around. So it's a really versatile piece, and I'm sure if you chose different colours it'd be suitable for everyone. Boys, girls, everyone. Love it. I'm so happy with that. It's so cute. I can't wait to see the little recipient wearing it because it's going to be adorable. So that's that FO. And that's all I've got as far as FOs go. My next one is a beautiful acquisition. Now, the lovely Eva Christie from Eva Christie Hand Knits podcast has organised a festive sock swap amongst some podcasters, which was such a great idea. I absolutely loved it, and I was really thrilled to be able to make a special pair of socks for my recipient and send them off. And then I got a beautiful pair of socks from my partner. We all had different partners. We weren't sending and receiving to the same person. I sent mine to one person and someone else has sent to me. And I had the lovely Susan, who is Tall Polish Girl on Ravelry, and she made me, oh my god, these are amazing, these gorgeous socks. Oh my god, how beautiful are they? And the colours are right up my alley, and I adore this little blip of colour work in the middle. I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually a little bit of colour work. Same on here. It's so cute. I love it. And the short row garter stitch heel, that is awesome, Susan. I just, can't wait to wear these. It's so pretty. What a gorgeous sock. And the colours, that yarn, I just love it. Absolutely love it. These are just beautiful. Oh, what a great idea for a swap, isn't it? I really love it. Love the idea. These are just so beautiful. Thanks so much, Susan. I cannot wait to wear them. They're very, very pretty. I think these might have to be special occasion socks because I don't want to break them because they're too pretty. But she also sent me those socks packaged in this gorgeous bag. I have a feeling one of my nieces might have already claimed this. That's alright. And this chocolate, I've not heard of this sort before, and Susan said this is local to her, so that's going to be really exciting. And 2 Mad Tosh unicorn tails. Oh my god, these colours are amazing. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to use that. They actually look stunning together. I love them. They're so cool. Yeah, really, really love them. This one's called Mandala, and this one's called Cousteau. So very happy with those. Thanks so much, Susan. It was very nice. She also included a really lovely card with a lovely note in it, but also this totally groovy notebook with S on it. Lined pages in there, and I'm notebook crazy. I have notebooks everywhere, and all my project bags have a notebook in them, and they're all full of ideas and notes and reminders and all sorts of things. I do have a rather extensive collection of notebooks and I love them. So that was perfect. Thanks so much, Susan. So the final thing on my agenda today is the prize giveaway for the Podiversary and my birthday. It's my birthday next week and it was the Podiversary this week, so I thought I'd better have a little giveaway to express my gratitude for all the lovely support and comments and interactions I've had over this first year of my podcast. And I've got this gorgeous bag that was generously donated by the lovely Tammy of Girl So Sheepy, and she's very talented. Here's all her details. She has an Etsy shop and she's also got a brand new podcast out. At the moment there's just the one episode, but I really enjoyed watching it. Tammy's quite the natural in front of the camera and she was really enjoyable. She makes beautiful things. So go and check her out. That's Girl So Sheepy, and she donated this bag, so that was very generous. And I had another very generous and talented woman donate a skein of magnificent yarn, and this is 100% superwash wool. It's 100 grams and it's DK weight. Look at that colour, and it is exactly like that in real life. It is so beautiful, and this is the rose colourway, and it's from Rose Hip Island, and that's a lovely Hannah who also has the Rose Hip Knits podcast on YouTube, which is another one of my favourites. And there's her details there. So there's also a set of stitch markers. Hopefully that rain is not too loud, it's really pouring. Stitch markers made by me, and they'll be coming along in your package as well. And I had 39 entries into that thread, and love it. Love it. It's one of my favourite threads that I've ever had in the Ravelry group. Everyone's stories were so fantastic. I loved hearing about everyone's memorable birthdays. Now, let me see. Generate, who have I got? Post number 7. Let's see who that is. Ooh, how exciting. I wonder who it's going to be. That'll be on the first page. Ooh, post number 7. Who's it going to be? Who is it? Who is it? Oh, it's lovely Dana. Now, I hope you don't mind, Dana, but I'm going to read out your memorable birthday. My most memorable birthday was not my best at all, but rather a nightmare, so we'll best keep quiet about that. Fair enough. But my best birthday was the day after my oldest's first day of school. My best friend, who lives far away, visited and made it a beautiful morning already. Later, another good friend came and together we just sat together in the sun. Totally simple, but to this day I still remember the peacefulness of that moment. And that sounds like a perfect birthday to me, exactly what you want. So congratulations, lovely Dana. This is coming your way. How exciting. It's going to be lovely. I think you're going to really love this yarn and this bag. Oh, so exciting. So Dana's actually in Germany, and she is going to be getting 3 Australian made things, so that's nice that they're heading off to Europe, and I'll get those in the mail to you soon. I'm pretty sure I've already got your address, Dana, but just in case, send it through to me in a Ravelry message and I will get this heading off to you shortly. Now, as you might not be able to hear, it is pouring here now. And Rosie's all snuggled up in some blankets over there. She's just completely ignoring everything. When it rains, she just shuts down. She does not like the wet weather at all. So she's just enjoying herself in some blankets. I don't have anything else to show you. I've shown you everything I've been working on and everything I've finished. And I've drawn that wonderful prize. Oh, I'm so excited to send that off. That was so beautiful. And oh good, it's now starting to hail. so glad I'm not... Oh, can you hear that? Oh my goodness. Now even Rosie is looking at me like, is this okay? So you possibly can't hear me now, but it's pouring and hailing out there. So I best say goodbye. Thanks so much for joining me for this 40th episode, also my podiversary, and for the past year of the podcast. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I hope you can hear me. Alright, thanks a lot, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.